How to convert PDF files to either a Word document or to a JPEG graphics file. I'm Huey Pawlak. Let's start with the PDF file. This is a 33-page document as a PDF. I consolidated it to a 5-page document, including the cover page, to make it a lot quicker to demonstrate what we want to do today. So right now we have this PDF file. Let's take a look at it. There's several graphics. There's a little chart in there. There's a spreadsheet. There are a few graphics in this document. So let's see how we can convert this file. To convert it to a Word document, we don't start with the PDF file. We're actually going to start with Word. And then we're going to tell it that we want to open a file, and we're going to go find that document by browsing. We go to the folder. Now we're opening it up in Word, but we're going to the PDF file. We click on it and we tell it to open. What we'll get is this dialog box which says Word will now convert your PDF to an editable Word document. This may take a while. The resulting Word document will be optimized to allow you to edit the text, so it might not look exactly like the original PDF, especially if the original file contained lots of graphics. So let's go ahead and click OK. And we are now in Word, and it has converted it. This is a Word document. We can see, if we click here, we see the graphic. If we come down here, this is all editable. Here's another graphic. Here's a spreadsheet with columns and rows. Here's another graphic. So we've got our document now in Word. Now, what can we do with it? Well, let's take a look. We can take some of the graphics out of it if we want and use them for other purposes. So let's come down and let's say we want to use this graphic. We click on it. It puts a box around it and shows us how it's set in the document. But if we right mouse click on this, we can save as a picture. We can insert text. There's several things that we can do, and right now we can wrap the text in different ways. We can size and position it. Let's go ahead and just look at the size and position. It actually shows us some information about that and tells us that we've got it right now at over the original size of the picture. So what we're going to do is we're going to just take this and we're going to save it as a picture, and we're going to put it in the same folder, and we're going to call it network cable. Blue, and save it. Now if we go out to our folder, it's in there. And if we click it and we open it, we're opening it in our fan view. There is that graphic. So we can take each of the graphics and make them separate files from our document. Now we've got something here, which is a table. We copy that, and I am just going to copy it. And just to as an example, let's now open up Excel. And go to a blank document and paste it. And we can adjust it. So you could do some formatting and fix it up a little bit. So you can use that table. We're not going to save that. So you could use this table in different ways. Now, we have it in Word, so we can edit anything in here, or we can add our own words. We can say, this is our example. Let's make sure the text is in this. This is Arial 12, and we have it in Arial 12. So it's actually in the same font as our original document. So whatever we do with this, it's going to look like it was here to begin with. Now, if we want to save this back out as a PDF again, let's go ahead and let's delete this. It's not even in there now. And we can now do a file and save as, and we can save it in all of these different formats. We can save it back as a PDF, and this time we're going to call it fixed document, and save it. And we're going to go ahead and close our document now. You want to save the changes to the original. We're going to not save those. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bring the folder back over here. And here's the fixed document. When we open it, it is a PDF, and it no longer has that one graphic that we deleted. And we could actually delete all of the graphics if we wanted to and change it in any way we want. We readjust the paragraphs however we want to do it. So that's how you can first convert and then edit a PDF to a Word document. Next, we want to take that same PDF file, and we want to make each page a JPEG. You might ask, why would you want to do that? Well, let's say you want to post one of the pages or a couple of the pages on Facebook or on a website or in a flyer or in a newsletter, and it's easier to just take a picture of the page and put the picture in that newsletter, on that flyer, or in the case of Facebook, you can't post a PDF. You would have to post it as a picture or as a graphic. So let's do that. We're going to open up that file. I'm going to right mouse click, and I'm going to open it with the Acrobat Reader DC. That would be probably the version of Acrobat that you have on your computer. And you'll see that over here on the right are some things that we can do. So here is the document. And what we want to do is we want to export that PDF as convert it to a JPEG. Now we're going to have a problem, but let's do this anyway. When I click on convert, it goes to this page. Hey, it wants us to subscribe at $15 a month to the Acrobat Pro DC, which will allow us to do that. Well, you know what? I'm not going to spend $15 a month. I'm certainly not going to do that just to convert a few pages every once in a while. So there are some ways around that. So how are we going to convert our PDF to JPEGs for free and simply? Well, there's several ways you can do it. Obviously, you can do screen captures, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Microsoft Store, and we're going to do a search, and we're going to search for PDF to JPEG. And it shows several here, or we can just do the search, and it finds several programs. But here's one as a PDF to JPEG. I went ahead and clicked on it and installed it, and then when it's installed, it's ready to launch. Or I can just go to the program that's now part of my Windows. To launch it, we have to go to our menu. Now, I hadn't mentioned earlier, but the name of that PDF to JPEG was any PDF to JPEG. So we'll find it on our menu right here under any PDF to JPEG. And you can see that it shows that it's new. I'm going to right mouse click and I'm going to pin that to the start so that we have it on our start, and I'm going to put it up here so I can find it easily the next time. So let's go ahead and click on it. What it's saying is, okay, load the PDF. So that's the first thing that we need to do, is go ahead and click on that. And this is the document that we want, and we tell it to open. And we're going to tell it to save the image. So let's go ahead and click it. So where is it going to put it? We're going to put it in the same place. It's going to be a subfolder. It's going to create its own folder. We're going to do all of the pages. We could say just do the current page, or just do pages from 1 to 3 or 2 to 4 or whatever. We're going to do all of the pages just so you can see it's done. We can save it in several formats. We can save it as a JPEG, a PNG, a BMP, a GIF, or a TIFF, but we're going to save it as a JPEG. You can scale it so you can make it bigger or smaller. We're going to leave it at 100%, and we're going to tell it to continue. It's done. It's that quick. And now we're going to open up the folder. And there's our 5 files. So if we open up first one, this is showing it at 81%. It's not the full size, but it is the full page. And we can go to each page, and each one of these is a JPEG, which we could then copy and paste to do whatever. Let's go the other way. Let's say we have a Word file or an Excel file, and we want to make a PDF out of it. That's very simple these days. Several years ago, you had to own the Adobe Acrobat Professional program in order to save a file as an Acrobat PDF file. But let's take a look at it now. We're going to open up a sample Word document. To save this as a PDF file, it's quite simple. There are a few ways in which you could do it, though. First way, and the quickest and easiest way, is go to File, do a Save As. We're going to save it in the same folder, but notice this drop down. What we're going to do is we're going to save it as a PDF. We're going to leave the same name, and we will then save it. And when we look at our folder now, we will see that there is a Word document called example.docs. If you want to open it with the Reader, Adobe Reader, it's going to look the same way. It's going to look like this. You might not have this open on this side, and you can close this up. If you wanted to close that, you just click here, and it gives you your tools over on the side. And there's our PDF. This is at 176%. Actual zoom to page level, and we see the entire page. So we've created a PDF from. But there is also another way in which you could do a PDF. There is another way in which we can do that. We're going to open up the Word document again. This time, instead of saving it, we're going to tell it to print. And you can change your printers, and depending upon what software you have installed and so on, you will find that there may be some different PDF formats, but one of them is Microsoft Print to PDF. When you do that, you're going to print it to a PDF. You click print. It says, okay, what do you want to call it? And we're going to call this Microsoft PDF version. I hit the caps, but that's all right. I hit the caps lock, but that's all right. We'll just leave it that way. Microsoft PDF version sample, and we'll say save. And now when we go back into the folder, we'll see the MS. So when we click on it, it's still a PDF. So there are different ways in which you can save a file as a PDF. And so any file, it doesn't, if it's not in Word, let's say it's in any program that you use, and it doesn't have the ability to save that file as a PDF, print to PDF, and choose one of the choices that's on your computer, and make sure that after you finish it, the next time you go to print to your printer, change the printer back to your HP or your brother printer, and don't leave it on the PDF where each time it's going to try to do that. Save it as a file, and you're not going to, it's going to confuse you and why it's not printing. This is Huey Poplock. Thanks for joining.